The artist Arthur Streeton said that the Art Gallery of New South Wales had one of the finest settings of any gallery in the world. He called it a golden temple to art. This first wing has the 4 completed panels of what were meant to be 6 panels illustrating the 6 epochs of Western art. Assyrian art, Egyptian art, Greek art, Roman art, then Romanesque was meant to be the next one, and then the Italian Renaissance. They were considered high points of Western art at the time. And there was a proposal that on the other side, they would have those similar high points in Asian art, but they were never built. For various reasons, including the war and the cost of casting the work, only 4 of the panels here were completed. And the first one to be completed was by an English artist who was living in Melbourne called Percival Ball, and he came to the trustees with a proposal to do all of the panels. The first panel he did was of ancient Greece, Phryne before Praxiteles. He went to London to cast it and he died. So that's the sad story of Percival Ball and why he didn't complete the entire scheme. It's one of the loveliest panels and many people say it's their favourite. So it was installed in 1900 and then the trustees had a problem, what do we do now? So they decided on an art competition. And the winners of that competition were Gilbert Bayes, English artist for the Assyrian panel, Countess Feodora Glycan, related to Queen Victoria, for the second Egyptian panel. This was a controversial decision. Australian artists resented that the decoration on the facade of their gallery was going to English artists. The 4th panel was cast many, many years after the early 2. John Sulman, who was a trustee and an architect, this was one of his pet projects. He wanted it completed. He gave the money for the panel. He actually suggested the artist, Reed Dick, another British sculptor, but he didn't get what he wanted. You can see that it's a much more Art Deco panel, much shallower than the other 3. And when Sulman saw it, he said it doesn't stylistically match. So he wanted to cancel the commission, but the artist cunningly just went ahead and got it cast. People always say, why have you got these names on the front of your gallery advertising wares that are not contained inside? Because we don't have a Giotto, we don't have a Raphael, we don't have a Titian, but they were never intended to advertise the wares of the gallery. These were intended as an aspirational thing for Australian artists. These, at the time, were considered some of the luminaries in the world of visual culture. We don't just have artists, we have sculptors, architects, a whole range of people on the facade of the gallery. And I love them, they're quirky, they're part of the history of the gallery. And this was the trustees saying to local artists, you can aspire and you can be this new pantheon for this new temple of art in the city of Sydney. Wow, this is the amazing vestibule of the Art Gallery of New South Wales. Considered by many people to be Vernon's masterpiece, and it's just so sumptuous. There's the materials, the mosaic floor, the stained glass domes, this coffered ceiling, ionic marble columns, these niches that were traditionally filled with sculpture, but they're still used for contemporary art and for installations. The marble is wonderful. Lots of people think it's Italian marble, but it's all from New South Wales. In the first part of the 20th century, it was thought that maybe Australia would rival Italy as a source of marble, but unfortunately I think Nearly all of it is used in the Art Gallery of New South Wales. It wasn't that rich. The marble itself tells the geological story of New South Wales, and we often ask kids to find a fossil in one of these columns. The architect of all of the historic parts of the current gallery was Walter Liberty Vernon, the Liberties of London, which most people will know. He was government architect. Interestingly, he didn't want to build the gallery in the classical style, but the trustees really wanted a classical gallery, and they were very much inspired by the National Gallery of Scotland in Edinburgh. And I think he delivered in this building the finest public building in Sydney using a classical architectural language. The space also tells the story of the incomplete nature of Australian art. There's spaces up there that were intended for mural paintings, which weren't complete. And I like that because the French say a historic building should never be complete. That's why on their cathedrals they'll have things that are left uncarved because they think to complete it blights the future of the institution, and it should always be in this moment of activation.